Hey friends, welcome back to Jenny Food and My Kitchen. As a private chef, I am always on the hunt for new recipes for my health-focused clients. This can be vegan, pescatarian, this can be gluten-free, grain-free, or even those with certain food allergies. The goal is to come up with recipes that are going to be both satisfying while addressing the needs that they have, as well as being delicious. I'm actually going to try something new. Who knew that dense bean salads were a thing? I guess I missed it. But I'm seeing them more and more trending, especially among those that are health conscious. So today, we're going to try a Mediterranean crunch dense bean salad. Does that not sound delicious? So let's make this. All right, first friends, let's talk ingredients. I have 3 cans of mixed beans. That's a kidney, a garbanzo, and a great northern bean. I have a mix of Kalamata and Castelvetrano olives, some mint and parsley, a cucumber, red onion, 2 lemons, some cherry tomatoes, and then I have some Dijon mustard, some garlic powder, some oregano, some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And that is all of our ingredients for this dense bean salad. I'm starting off with my 3 cans of beans in the bowl. Now, if you wanted to, you could swap these beans out for different choices. I don't think it really matters. I just think, number one, we need to have chickpeas because that's going to go really well with the flavors. And I like the color variation and a little bit of texture variation between all 3 of these. So we're going to start with that. Now to that, we're going to add 1 cup of chopped cucumber. So I don't know if that'll be half, but I am going to, again, I'm going to chop these very similar to the size of the beans. I'm going to try to make everything, again, kind of roughly the same size. So I will chop these cucumber. And the beauty of this is, I mean, you could actually just kind of mix all of this together without measuring. I am just going to kind of try to keep track so that I can see how this all works together. So, get our cucumber, and I'm just chopping that in like little cubes. So, about that big. And that is almost a cup. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say half a cucumber. And this cucumber was pretty big. So I think half a cucumber works. All right, we've got our cucumber ready. Next, I'm going to go in with our red onion. Now, this happened to be a red onion that was already, I started slicing off. It was in my fridge. I go through so many onions in the summertime, I'm telling you what. But I'm going to give that, you know, kind of, I don't want it to totally disappear. So maybe about the same size. I'm thinking, let's see if that's going to be enough. The goal is about half a cup, but I like me some onion in my salads. I am not shy about the onion. All right, we've got our onion. I'm going to go ahead and measure that. That should be less than a cup. All right, let's see. Yes, so maybe 3/4 of a cup. I've got a little bit more of a cup of the cucumber. Woo, those are strong. So I'm just going to add those right in. All right, next we're going to go in with our cherry tomatoes, and I am just going to have these. And I actually have a picnic to go to tonight, so I think I might test it. You know, bring it to an event and then see what people think. I do that all the time. I like to test out my recipes on my friends. And the nice thing about this salad is it will hold up to the heat. So, I mean, since there's nothing that, it's not really going to go bad. I mean, these are just vegetables and oil and lemon juice, spices, beans. I mean, there's nothing that's temperature sensitive. So this is perfect to take on a hot day to a picnic or an outdoor event. As well as it's going to keep really nicely in the fridge. So this is a great meal prep salad. All right, we've got our cherry tomatoes. All right, now the recipe calls for like a half a cup of olives. I kind of love olives. And in fact, Castelvetranos, those are my favorite. So I've got a blend of Castelvetrano and some Kalamata olives, and I'm just going to give each one of those a little chop in half. I think that'll be perfect. Oh, Castelvetrano olives are so good. I could snack on a jar of Castelvetrano olives every single day. I think together these are gonna, Castelvetrano olives are kind of meaty, which makes them so delicious. And the Kalamata olives just bring that Mediterranean funk, like that desirable flavor that you're looking for in a Mediterranean dish. So I think these are going to be really, really good. The beauty of this recipe is that you can really customize it to what you like. Now, I don't happen to have a red or orange or yellow pepper, but I think that would be beautiful in here, especially an orange or a yellow, just to bring in another color and texture, a crunch. Alrighty, there's our olives. All right, lastly, I'm going to go in with our herbs. Now, I have here some mint. And I love a good amount of fresh herbs. Actually, the flavor of this kind of reminds me of, the flavor profile, I should say, that I'm creating reminds me of quinoa tabbouleh that I love to make. That's one of my most popular, most requested salads, and kind of both in the dressing and the herbs, because I use parsley and mint in that as well. So that kind of reminds me. I'm anticipating that it'll taste very similar to that. Only I don't add olives, so I don't know. We'll see how delicious this is going to be. All right. And I like to just kind of wad it up as tight as I can grab it. Try to put it in a ball, and then I just kind of start chopping from there. All right, our mint is ready to go in. Now the recipe calls for like 2 tablespoons, and I probably put more like 4 tablespoons, like a fourth of a cup, even maybe a little more. But again, I like things a little herb heavy. I am not afraid of the herbs, especially to me, since this is so dense with beans. I think you need a little more herbs to give that some bright and interesting flavor against those beans. So I ain't mad that there's extra herbs in this. All right, there is our parsley. And that looks about the same amount, probably 4 tablespoons, maybe even a little bit more. All right, we are done with our chopping. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and we will make that dressing. All right, I am gonna add 1/3 of a cup of good olive oil. We're gonna add in the juice of 2 lemons. Squeeze those right in there. And I think the lemons are going to work well with the beans. I mean, again, you have a bright flavor against kind of that dull bean flavor. All right, there is our lemons. All right, to that dressing, I am going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. And again, I'm just gonna, whoops, that's more like there you go. There's a 1/2 teaspoon. And then I'm gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And you can also use fresh garlic. I'm actually testing this with a specific client in mind that can't tolerate fresh garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the garlic powder today. All right, and then we are going to add about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. That looks like about a teaspoon. All right, and then just a little bit of salt. That was about 1/3 of a teaspoon. I will salt this more as the salad if it needs it. And then we'll put some fresh cracked pepper in there. And then we're just gonna give this a whisk right in our little dish. All right, our dressing has come together. So now we're just gonna dump it and mix it all in one bowl. That's another nice thing about this recipe. I would call it a 1-bowl recipe. So now we're just gonna take a large spoon and just give everything a mix. Doesn't that look beautiful? I mean, it sure does look pretty. I hope it tastes good. All right, we've got it all mixed up. Boy, that is looking absolutely beautiful. Doesn't that look delicious? That's very pretty. All right, I'm gonna take some of this. I'm just gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of feta right on top, and then I will give this a taste. That right there is my lunch today. I'll let you know how delicious this is. It looks good. It smells good. All right, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of everything in there. A little tomato, onion, olive, bean, feta. Yum. Wow. That is really good. That lemon is very bright against the beans. I can tell that once this sits and those beans kind of soak up some of that vinaigrette, it's gonna get even better. Oh yeah. Yes, my clients will love this. I love it. Not only a new recipe for them, but a new recipe for me as well. It's always good to have a recipe like this in your back pocket so that if you need to come up with something for, say, a vegan, somebody that's grain-free or gluten-free, somebody that's health conscious, this is a great recipe. It's bright, it's exciting, and it's protein packed, bursting with flavor. It's delicious. Friends, if you know somebody that needs this recipe, go ahead and share it with them. Otherwise, like, comment, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I would love it and appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now, friends. Whew. This is really good. Unexpectedly good.